What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, just one day after we did the Aaron Rodgers story, Aaron Rodgers decided, hey, I'm going to join the Steelers after all, which we always kind of thought was going to be the case. We mentioned that yesterday. But now that it's official, and it's not technically official, he said that he intends to join the team, which means he actually has not signed with the team yet, but that he's going to at some point. Which again, I think it's another storyline. When is he going to sign on the dotted line? It's going to happen at some point. I don't know if it's going to be OTAs. I don't know if it's going to be mini camps. He'll do it at some point, but he's letting people know I do want to play, and it's going to be with the Steelers. Okay? The reason this matters to us is because week 14, we played the Steelers, and we were kind of talking around maybe Mason Rudolph, who we all know not a good quarterback, or the possibility of Aaron Rodgers. We now know it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. This is a Monday night game, week 14. I've already told you guys, I do not believe in the Steelers this year. I like Mike Tomlin. I want to see him do well in general. I think this is going to be his first losing season. I don't think this team is particularly good. However, they're pretty good in prime time, and they're a sneaky team. I don't love sneaky teams late in the year in prime time because you get the game to yourself. People want to show off for their families. They're going to put a lot of buzz around it. Any game Aaron Rodgers is involved in is a big deal. It's a big deal. This might be his last primetime game of the year. I've looked at Pittsburgh's schedule, but there's only 3 games after that. I don't believe they have a primetime game after that. And I do think a lot of people believe this will be his last season. So if this is his last Monday night game, and he says at some point during the year, let's say they're, I don't know, 5-8 going into that game, not gonna make the playoffs. We know that. So now it's like, hey, you're kind of playing for stats because we know stats are a part of Aaron Rodgers' legacy. We know that. You're playing for stats, you're not making it to the playoffs, and you're kind of letting people know, I'm done. If this is his last primetime game against the Dolphins, I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love the idea that I get one more game on the stage to just really go out and gunsling it. I don't love that because we don't need any more and we won't need any more ammo for our opponents, right? Because you know the team is going to play up for them. You know DK is going to try to go for 200. You know they're going to just be like, hey, if you want to throw the ball 55 times, go cook. We don't care if you throw 19 picks. And that will be the game that he throws 55 times. It has like 40 completions, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. They win the game and it's insignificant. But he's like, hey, I guess I still have one more left in the chamber. It's one of those kind of games. Because I'm predicting this will be his last year. And I'm thinking this will be his last primetime game. So I'm predicting this will be the last giant game of his career. I suppose the last game of the season would be the biggest game but I can see him doing kind of the swan song thing where he does like one drive, tries to score a touchdown, walks off. They do like a, 5-minute stand and clap, play some kind of montage. I can see that happen in the last game. As far as games that are in the flow of the season, I think this might be the last one. So that puts a little bit more stakes on the game. I'm operating under the assumption the Dolphins will be playing for a playoff spot at this time, which means we can't afford any losses late in the year. We have Tampa the week after this, and I think Tampa's a good team. Tampa's really good offensively. Don't want to be looking ahead to that game. So I don't believe in Pittsburgh this year. I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers at large this year, but I do believe he has enough in the chamber for one more game. Monday Night Football, they're going to bring out all the stops, all the coverage, and he's going to just be like, hey, it's just a regular Monday night game. I'll just do what I can, especially if during the year he announces that he's going to retire. He may not announce it because I know he likes to have the whole fanfare of, will I, won't I? If he decides, hey, I'm not the guy I used to be, I made all the money I'm going to make, I'm going to, full-time TV. If he announces that before this game, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, and I'm not looking forward to it because I do think he's going to figure out during the year, I don't like losing. I'm not this guy I used to be. Hanging it up. By the way, Miami, I got one more for you. So I'm nervous, but we'll see what happens. Now, we've been doing a lot of contract talks, mostly with John New, some with Jalen, some with Tyreek. We haven't talked about Tua's contract in a while because he signed it a year ago. Basically, Tua's contract, 4-year, $212 million deal, but it's really like a 3-year contract. Only 161 is guaranteed. Now, last year, not guaranteed. That's why we didn't restructure his contract because basically the team, if they don't love Tua past next year, can kind of move off of him without owing him any money. The question I had is, I've been watching a lot of sports where contracts are a big deal. People will say, "Oh, you got paid all this money, you didn't do anything." We just had a thing with the Knicks, right? I'm going to cross sports with this one, where Knicks fans were some love Tom Thibodeau, right? Oh man, this is the best team we've had in the last 50 years, but they made it to one conference championship and lost. And so some people were saying, well, because we haven't been good, this is as good as we've been, he deserves more credit, right? Who cares we didn't win a championship? There's something to be proud of. And my question is, the Dolphins haven't won a championship since 72, right? We have Tua, who's been the best quarterback we've had since Dan Marino, right? So we haven't had anybody as good at this position since Dan Marino, right? Dan Marino is in the Hall of Fame. We know Tua is not going to be Dan Marino. My question is, what does Tua have to do for his contract to not feel like it's a waste of money? That's a legitimate question because only one team can win the championship. Tua's prime is coinciding with Patrick Mahomes' prime, Lamar, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, maybe the rise of guys like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. Like, we don't know CJ Stroud. There's a lot of guys prime happening at the same time. And Tua's in the middle of all that. And you can argue, of the guys I mentioned, he is the lowest on that totem pole. So what would he have to do for his contract to be worth it to the team and to the fan base, right? Because when we signed the contract, I don't believe people thought, cool, this is our Super Bowl window necessarily. I think they thought we're competing. We're winning 9 to 11 games a year. We know we're in a hunt to win the division. We're in a hunt to make the playoffs. If we can get home field, we might be able to win a round or two. For me, if he gets to the second round and we lose a heartbreaker by a field goal, Harrison Butker style to the Chiefs, I think that's really good. Because I've seen teams that don't have quarterbacks who just are in a wasteland. They're in the sunken place. These guys aren't doing anything. You're waking up every year like, all right, if we can get to 5 or 6 wins, I guess that's acceptable. Like, that's a bad place to be. The Dolphins know if Tua plays the whole year, we're very likely to be either in the playoffs or like a game out. He's shown that when he plays, he most likely wins, right? He wins, 60% of his games. What would be a success for him is, I think, second round. If he makes it to an AFC Championship game, I don't know how you can't say that's not a success, right? After Marino went to the Super Bowl in '84, we never got there again under Marino. But people still think his career was, immediately in Dolphin world, is successful. Was it as high as his talent demanded? No, but he also didn't have the full team around him. If Tua can get to the second round, which means basically winning a playoff game. I think if Tua wins a playoff game, you can say his contract is justified. And that sounds crazy because it's $212 million, but we have not won a playoff game in almost 25 years. So if he wins one playoff game, especially on the road, and if he beats one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks to do it, if we go on the road and beat Buffalo, I mean, they might put his jersey in the rafters. Like, I know it's ridiculous. We have a lot of lore, but I'm saying, given how the last quarter century has gone, a single playoff win for Tua, especially on the road, I think puts him in a certain esteem with the fan base. Of course, they want to win the second and third game, get to a Super Bowl. Of course, win a Super Bowl, immortal. We understand how that works. But if he wins one playoff game and just breaks that schneid, I think he elevates to a level that he might even get an extension. Like, if this year we win a playoff game, I think they pick up the last year of his contract and say, hey, he's shown us playoff, 2 of his last 3 healthy years, won a playoff game. We're one of the final, 6 to 8, maybe 4 teams left. I think that's enough for a lot of people. Because I don't think anyone thinks he's reasonably better than Mahomes, Josh, or Lamar, or Burrow. But our team infrastructure also isn't as well put together. We have a lot of people on 1-year contracts, a lot of expiring deals, offensive line still under construction. I don't believe he's enough to elevate past all that, but if he can do his job and get to a single playoff win, I personally think he justifies his contract. I know a lot of people are like, conference championship, Super Bowl or bust. I think that's too lofty for him, and frankly, I think that might be, it's not living like in the past, but in this current landscape, I don't believe the Dolphins are a Super Bowl team. Give us a couple off seasons maybe, but right now, I just don't see it. Now, this last story, this happened like a week or so ago. I meant to get to it, just kind of slipped my mind. It's another Tyreek story. You know what happened? Tyreek was actually doing well and was doing so much good that I think I like put this story to the side because I didn't want to like just pile on to the negativity. But I can't let the story go by because it's funny and it's ridiculous. So Tyreek was on Aiden Ross's podcast, like online, and he was talking about him wanting to punch out Coach McDaniel. And he said, why? He's like, because he wasn't throwing me the ball. And that's as Tyreek as you get. Hey man, throw me the ball. You ain't throw me the ball? Cool. Let's fight. It's wild. But it also is very much on brand for Tyreek because he wants the ball because he very much is a let me show you what I do on the field guy. Typical receiver, but Tyreek even more so because he is objectively the biggest star on our team. And the coach largely determines who gets the ball, meaning you could be the A receiver, B, C, whatever. But the quarterback is what throws you the ball. Or the coverage could dictate that you don't get the ball. That's what makes this ridiculous. I don't believe Coach McDaniel was like, hey, don't throw the ball to Tyreek. Why would he do that? Unless Tyreek is double or triple cover, in which case, don't throw the ball to Tyreek. Somebody's one-on-one, if not open. So if Tyreek's running these routes, and most of his routes are deep, and they have a safety over top, which most defenses do, and they're playing some kind of jam, bump, and run kind of situation, then there's somebody in his pocket and over the top, and he's short. What I'm going to do, just throw the ball up 1-on-2 and be like, all right, Tyreek, you go up there and Randy Moss this? Like, that's not good offense. That's bad offensive philosophy. If they're doing all that to you, I'm going to send somebody deep and somebody underneath, and they're going to be wide open. So I know he wants to get the ball. I know him scoring touchdowns, doing backflips is part of his brand. I understand it. The fact that he admitted on the podcast I wanted to punch the coach is really the point of this story. I think most players at some point want to punch a coach, teammate, position coach, fans, whoever. You just don't say it publicly. You don't say it now on the podcast, like unless you're high or drunk and it's like, sorry, I was high and drunk, I said something. You don't say it. It's because it just lends itself to bad decision making. He didn't punch the coach, which is good decision making. But you said it publicly that you wanted to. So it's a thing that you got to answer about. You didn't have to say it. You can say I've been frustrated with the coach before, but him and I talked it out. Easy. No issues there. The minute of, man, you ain't throw me the ball. Like, it's such a childish response. It's hilarious, which is why we're doing the story. I'm not like admonishing him for, feeling it. You just don't say it publicly. It's just a dumb thing to do. Since then, though, he's been cleaning it up. So we got to get the story out because it's funny. But just keep that for a book maybe. Or a press tour after you retire. Don't say it before the season. We don't need that. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate all the love and support. You guys have been crushing it with the likes and subscribes. We like that. We're going to keep bringing these shows daily. Thank you all for supporting us. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.